I want to share with you a comment that I received. I think we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but this was an interesting comment. So a couple of months ago, I did a video, not a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about to remember that once we were all foreigners here, right? There's those passages in the Bible where we're reminded, remember that you were once slaves in Egypt. Remember that you were once foreigners in a strange land, and treat the foreigners among you well. Take care of them, provide for them, treat them like family, treat them like they belong. Make sure that they don't go without. Your job is to be a good host. Yes, sure. You didn't invite them. It doesn't matter. Your job's to be a good host. You got to take care of them. You've got to feed them. You've got to clothe them. You've got to provide for them. In the ancient days, that provision would come, you got to give them a job, a place to live. You got, a place to sleep tonight. We see that throughout the Old Testament. We see that in the New Testament. We see that mentality transcends cultures and religions. It absolutely transcends cultures and religions. I have a friend of mine when I was working as a carpenter, a rough carpenter, not a like a Red Seal carpenter, but my dad has a construction company, and some guys that I worked with were never ever short of stories. And one guy was telling me, so please understand, my friend's telling me a story about his friend's wife. But his friend was working for a Canadian oil company in Egypt. And he was down there. He was an engineer, so he was down there. He was working there a while. He had a small little place in some city, and his wife came to visit. His wife came to visit him one day, and they had planned on this. She was going to spend a couple of months there, and then come back to Canada. Probably going to escape the winter in Egypt, and then come back to Canada in the spring. Anyway, when she was there, she loved it, right? The people were so friendly. They were so nice. It was so awesome. It was so great. It was this, that, and the other thing. But it was really hot. And so she would leave the windows open. And one day, just to let the heat out, they lived in this sort of, I want to say it was an alleyway, but don't think about it like we normally would think, like a dark, dirty, strange alley where Bruce Wayne's parents were killed. It's not that kind of alley. It was just like a little offshoot of a street. And so she left the door open. Just left the door open a little bit, right, to add a little bit more air pouring through. And then, she went and took a shower. Okay, so she took a shower. She comes out, she hears some rustling in the living room. Doesn't think nothing of it. Into the bedroom, gets herself ready, for the day. Hears some more rustling, and then she starts hearing people talking, and she starts hearing people laughing. And there's dishes clinking, like the sound of, glass touching the countertop or the tabletop, and forks sort of, the sound like a metal fork makes against a glass or porcelain plate. And so she's wondering, what is going on? So she goes out, and when she goes out, her living room is full of women and babies, just like full of, it wasn't a terribly big place, but there's like a half dozen women, mothers, and their kids are in her living room. And they're eating her food that they took out of her kitchen. And they're drinking the water and whatever else, the juice that she had in her kitchen. And it's all laid out, and the napkins are out, and there's a tablecloth down where there wasn't a tablecloth before. And people are going in and out of the kitchen to get things as they need. And they're, hi, how are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And she's wondering what's going on. Well, the reason, she left the door open. And what it says is, I left the door open for you to come in. That's the traditional way where she was. That's the way the people took that. They took the door being open as a message that says, please come in. Now, here's the comment that was made to me when I said, we must be nice to strangers. We must be kind to strangers. We must take care of the foreigners. The message was this: even the ones who say death to America and death to Canada, you're so naive. They need to be vetted. the Irish and the Italians were legal. Because I said something about the Irish and the Italians in that video. They need to be vetted. They need to be vetted. Even the ones who say death to America and death to Canada. Yeah, we still have a responsibility of hospitality. We still have a responsibility of hospitality. And maybe, just maybe, if we actually lived where we took that responsibility seriously as we take all the other things that we look at in the Bible and go, oh, that's sinful, right? If we took hospitality as seriously as we take, I don't know, who a person is sleeping with, who a person is in love with. If we took hospitality as seriously as we take all the, you shouldn't drink and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do this. If we took hospitality, if we said we must be hospitable as often as the Bible tells us to be, we must take it that seriously, that it's an actual thing that God wants from us. We need to take that as seriously as all those things that God tells us not to do. And all those things that we're desperately pointing out to our neighbors what they must not do. If we took hospitality that seriously, what if, I imagine that changes the minds of those people who say death to Canada, death to America. I bet you it changes the way they think about us. I bet you it changes the way they think about our societies and our cultures. I bet it makes them scratch their head and ask themselves, why is it that I want to bring death here? Why is it that I want to bring destruction here? These people are loving. These people are living by the same code that my people live by. These people are living by the code of hospitality, that we're supposed to take care of each. That they're offering me food and drink, and they're offering me a place to sleep. They're offering me work. They're offering me a life. They're offering me safety. They're offering me family, friendship, conversations, relationship, love. They're offering me a home. As for the Irish, they were legal in that there were no laws against them coming here. The Italians were legal in that there were very few laws at the early 1900s about them coming here, and even less ability to police and enforce those laws. I am naive. And I've been sitting on this comment for a while because I'm glad that I'm naive. I want to be more naive. I do. I want to be even more naive than I already am. And I know what naive means, and maybe that's not exactly what I mean by it, but I want to be a person who believes the best in everybody. I want to see the best in everybody. I want to believe that everybody wants for me what I hope that I will want for them, because there are days where I don't. I want to be naive. Discerning? Sure. Intelligent? Yeah. Wise? Yes. But when it comes to people, I just want to have an open heart. I want to believe that they love me as I want to love them. I want to believe the best. I want to believe that all things, all good, loving, wonderful things are possible. I want to welcome them. I want to welcome them like, and in fairness, and I want to feel welcomed into their lives in the same way. I am naive, and I hope as I continue my journey, I hope as I continue my Christian walk, I hope as I continue my developing understanding of the divine, I hope my cynicism dissipates more and more and more and more. I hope I grow to be increasingly naive. I hope that I never wonder if somebody's taking advantage of me. I hope that I get to a place where I'm never wondering if someone's trying to pull a fast one on me. I hope that I get to a place where I don't care if they are. I hope that I can get to a place where I'm able to give without a second thought about what that person is doing, or if that person is deserving or not, whether that person is worthy of my assistance or not. I want to be more naive. And you know what else? I want that for the world too. I want that for the world too. Angelica says it's a horrible way to live if you're suspicious of everyone you don't know, as you can only know so few of the people on this planet. Yeah. And I mean, I understand the reasoning behind it, right? Like, please understand. I get why we're scared. I do. I understand why we're scared. I understand our history. I understand the experiences that people have had. I understand that some people are bad, that they just do bad things. I understand that hurt people hurt people. I understand that there are people out there in the world who do want to take advantage of us in the worst possible ways. I get all of that. I also understand I'm speaking from a place of intense privilege. I'm a white guy. I'm 6'2" and a bit. I'm 200 and some odd pounds. I don't feel threatened all that often. I've got a, right? So I get it. I get all of that. But a world where we can be naive is a dream to me. A world where we can be naive is an absolute dream to me. And it's one that I think we can work for. It's one that I think we can work towards. Amen.